Okay, good morning, everybody. I'm Brandon from the sunny shores of Singapore. Okay, right now I am in a very unique part of the island. I am at Little India. So this is actually a 200-year-old place, extremely different from the rest of Singapore. Okay, and behind me, where we start our tour, is a last remaining Chinese villa here in Little India. Hey, but wait, I thought this is Little India. How come there's Chinese villa? You must be wondering, right? Why is there well, this is largely believed to be the last remaining Chinese villa here in Little India. And why is it here? Well, it belongs to Mr. Tan Ting Nia. He was a prominent businessman about 100 years ago, and he has a few sweet factories around here which employed a lot of Indian workers. So I guess it's natural that he built his residence here in Little India, and it's been preserved ever since. Okay, let's go there and have a closer look, okay? Okay, wow, look at the wonderful array of colors. Okay, let me go to the side of the building. Okay, so as I mentioned, this is the Tan Ting Nia Villa. Okay, this businessman here used to be, he owned a few sweet factories around the area. Okay, so uh, very important man back in the day. And what's interesting about this building is it used to be just green and white. Okay, so after it was restored in the 80s for commercial use, a whole range of colors has been splattered on it, and easily one of the most Instagrammable places in Singapore, right? See, look at that. Wow. I feel like taking a few pictures myself actually, but maybe later. Okay, wonderful. Okay, so this is of course part of the efforts to restore and ensure that our Malaya culture lives on. Okay, so pardon me, I will be doing a bit of walking this morning from spot to spot. So pardon me, there's a bit of shaky. Okay, so I'll try to give you as much information about Little India as possible. Okay, so one last look at Tan Ting Nia Villa. Okay, wonderful. Look at that. All right. Okay, right. Let's move on. Okay, so as I mentioned, Little India, as the name suggests, has been around for 200 years. It is the early Indian settlers who came here to set up shop. Okay, when they came to Singapore. So right now, can you believe after 200 years, it has morphed into a wonderful enclave, exciting area full of culture. And of course, there are also hip eateries, cafes. Okay, and today there are sari shops, tailors, hairdressers. Oh, hairdressing is very, look at that. Okay, hairdressers, right? Very nice. They do great work here. So if you can have a haircut, enjoy a bit of shave, right? Feel fresh and move on with your tour. Okay. So many of the products, spices, household items, food, okay, are directly imported from India. Okay. Oh, I know you can't smell it. There's always a camphor smell in the air, right, that seems to draw you in. You know, the smell is amazing. Okay, so as with many important places, this is the main thoroughfare of Little India. Okay, this is the main artery, if you will, of the road. See, this is where it starts, and the whole road stretches as far as the eye can see. Okay, all right. Okay. So there we are. Okay, let's go on to one of the most important places here, Little India, which is the Tekka market. Okay, it's just in front of here. So it's a very important market, and it actually has all sorts of fashion, food. Of course, here being Little India, the Indian food stands out here. You must try the masala dosa, okay, the pratas here, which is a thin slice of crispy dough. Okay, just in front of me. Okay, pardon me. Okay, there is the Tekka market. Okay. All right. So there is the market ahead of me. Sorry, it's undergoing some construction at the moment. Okay. So I'm sorry I can't bring you inside for too close a look. It's under renovation. But when you do come here, always try the Indian food. Okay, wash it all down with the teh tarik for a complete Indian meal experience. All right. Okay. So just nice here. We can take a look. That is the Little India Arcade across the road. If you can see, that's where we are headed. All right, come on, let's go. Okay, so you see it's already bustling already. Some people doing their trades. Okay, so this Little India Arcade was officially opened in 1995, but of course this building has been around for quite some time before that. So it's used to commemorate the spirit of commerce and business of the early Indian settlers. Okay, I'm sorry, some of the shops are still not open early in the morning. Okay, the Little India Arcade. Okay, so what it holds is there's a whole range of barbers, tailors, shops selling spices, and which is very famous for its sweet shops. Ladies and gentlemen, look at that. Wow, wonderful array of sweets and pastries here. If you can take a look. Okay, well, if you ask me to describe some of them, a little bit too sweet for my taste. But hey, if you can tolerate extreme sweetness, come here and try it. Because there are others which are, of course, less strong in taste. I assure you, it is well worth your time, and you can get some souvenirs for your folks back home. Okay, this is Little India Arcade. It's a bit too early. So I know some of the shops are not open yet. Okay, so right next to it, right next street. Okay, you can see Campbell Lane next door. Okay, so this is a whole market here on the adjoining street of Campbell Lane, which has, look at all the fruits, right? You have mangoes, you have oranges, bananas, apples, and then there's shops selling the usual flower garlands, of course. Okay, so why are we here? And this bustling street, main reason is, whoa, look at that. This is the shop I want to show you, the Jyoti flower shop, right? Jyoti store and flower shop. This shop here is one of the more iconic ones along Little India. The owner actually named the shop after his first daughter, Jyoti. Okay, so it all started in the 40s, I believe. It was just selling betel leaves, little flower garlands, very modest establishment. And I'll say over the last 5 or 6 decades, it has morphed into this wonderful shop that sells anything from clay lamps, you can see clay oil lamps, garlands, prayer items, even household utensils. Okay, whoa. I think anything you need is yourself. Even wow, look at that. If you run out of your any items in Singapore, I'm sure you can get it. Even prayer oil. Hello. Okay. Wow, look at that. Look at the garlands. Okay. This is a very iconic shop. Come here. Soaked in the heritage and culture here. Okay. See all the lamps. And of course, satisfy your retail therapy. So speaking of heritage and culture, hey, what do you know? Just nice next door, there is a Indian Heritage Center. Yes, this is the place to go to if you want to know a bit more about, or in depth about the culture and the Indian early Indian settlers and what they brought to Singapore. Okay, let me go closer to it. It is the Indian Heritage Center. Okay, so it is the place to go to. Like I say, for more information, it's usually a lot of events and guided tours. Okay, so up there, I know there are, it's divided into 5 themes in the centers. So one of them showcases the contribution, early movements of settlers between the 19th to 21st century. So if you have time, do join in one of the tours, and I'm sure the guides will be able to give you a lot more information. And look at that, more shopping opposite here. So there are lots of Indian statuettes. Okay. Oh, of course, be sure to bargain, and I'm sure you can get a good price for your purchases. Okay. Look at that. Morning. Ni hao. That's hello to you in Chinese. Okay. So moving on. Okay. So as I mentioned, this area has now, of course, a lot of hostels, eateries. So don't worry, when you come here, you'll be sure to get your fix of food and drinks. As well, talking about food, more usually, I'm sure you're aware of North Indian and South Indian cuisine. So what's the difference? North Indian cuisine usually has a little bit more meat, more dough, things like naan. You know, it's almost like the Indian style pancake sort of thing in the North Indian cuisine. And I am bringing you to a place that's famous for South Indian cuisine. Okay, it's a bit of a walk here, so do bear with me. Okay, so you turn left down this street. Oh, wow, look at the produce. Looking good this morning. Okay, so as I mentioned, there are a lot of hidden shops here. So for those with deeper pockets, you can actually go up to, there are some starry shops up there, which the traditional Indian garment, they can go as much as $1,000 to $2,000, especially for the ladies. It will make a wonderful souvenir for your trip here. Okay, and I know for a fact that there are some tattoo shops here. Okay, so you can get a tattoo or a henna, which is a traditional Indian tattoo. Oh, there it is. Okay, henna arts and portraits. Okay, this shop. Okay, which is believed to ward off bad luck. Right. So open for business already. Okay. So you see, after all the shopping, you know, maybe you have a haircut or two, as I mentioned. Okay, so what's next? Okay, there are a lot of jewelry shops in Little India as well. We're selling gold, which is very big in Indian culture. They love their gold, which I will show some of it later. Some are still not open as of now. Okay. So around the corner, as I mentioned, I'm bringing you to a very famous South Indian restaurant. Wow, see, there's already a queue. And it's called Komala Villas. Okay, it's a 75-year-old establishment. See, there's already a queue. Whoa, early in the morning. Okay. Right, so this place is very famous for South Indian food. It is a vegetarian restaurant since 1947. Okay, you must try the naan over here. Okay, you can see, and the masala thosai. All right, which is almost like an Indian style pizza, isn't it? Okay, moving on. After satisfying your hunger pangs, right? The highlight of our tour is just about there. Okay. Well, that place is a place of worship. It is where many of the foreign migrant workers first came to Singapore. Right? Okay, I will show it to you in due time. We are trying to cross the road here. So as I mentioned, this area, there are a lot of gold shop. So I'll be able to show you some of the wonderful array of jewelry here in Little India. Okay. All right, on we go. Okay, see this jeweler, they're open already. Whoa, look at that. Okay, I'm sorry I don't have too much time to have a too close a look right today. But if you are here, do spend your time choosing, bargaining for such a lovely gold souvenir. All right. Okay, so as I mentioned, when you come to Little India, do have a complete Indian meal. It's a bit spicy and strong in taste for some, but do try the teh tarik, which is the iced frothy sort of tea, okay, or coffee tarik. So what they do is actually they pull the drink up, okay. They will drag the drink up and cool the drink for you. So it's a wonderful experience, okay, only here in Singapore. Okay, so the final part of our tour, as I said, is a place of worship. Okay, there are even more gold here. All right, okay. The place of worship where it is 140 years old and it's just right around the corner. Okay, come. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, the place is the Sri Birma Kaliaman Temple. Ta-da! A magnificent 140 years old temple. Okay, right here, the heart of Little India. Okay. So it is built in 1881, and what happened was the early Indian migrants or workers will come here to worship the goddess of Kali, which is believed to ward off evil and is a very ferocious goddess. But it helped them felt safe, ward off evil. Okay, very interesting stories here. So even during World War II, many migrants in India actually fixed the physical refuge here at the temple. Okay, today there are still some prayers being done here. So during World War II, what I said, they came here to seek refuge, hide from the Japanese, and as fate or luck would have it, would you know, there's actually this whole place remained unscathed throughout the 3 years that Singapore was under siege. Amazing, isn't it? I'm sure everyone was grateful over then at that time, and so are we. Okay, that this place remains magnificently. But just in case, the Singapore government renovated it in 1999 to restore it to its former splendor. Okay, so to today, there's still many prayers being done. Okay, so one last thing before I leave. Okay, if you come to many of the heritage places in Singapore, you will see signs like this, Heritage Trail. All right, in many parts of Singapore. You can read it and get more information as you walk around. It will guide you around the area that you are in. Okay, so I'm sorry, that's all the time I have today. One last thing, there are many, many other treasures and gems here in Little India. So I will now pass you to my colleague in Chinatown, Xiao Meng. And thank you very much. I look forward to meeting you again. Bye.
Switch on the mic. Thank you, Brendan. Thank you, Brendan.
Thank
Wow, that
you.
was really interesting in
Thank
Little
you.
India. Now, as I am standing over here to all our foreign delegates, all our
Okay, can go back. I know it's hot.
foreign friends,
Your friend?
especially those who have not come to Singapore. Yeah, this is Xiaomeng, and I'm in lucky Chinatown. Take a look, take a look. I'm right now at this subway. Okay, not the restaurant subway, but the MRT, or we call it the mass rapid transit. Okay, this is Chinatown as I am walking down over here. Once you come out from this particular, I'm just going to change the screen so that you can actually see it. Okay, Chinatown over here, once you actually come out of it, okay, you will be able to see from exit A, you will be able to come into all these nice little place that brings you back into the historic realms in the 1800s and the early 1900s, isn't it? Okay, so as you can see, these are the shop houses, what we call the shop houses, that is being conserved by the Urban Redevelopment Authority of Singapore, or we call it the URA in short. Okay, they are conserved in 1986. Sorry, 1986. And in comparison to what you see right in front, right at the furthest part, this is the skyscraper downtown city. It shows the few hundred years of transformation that has been taken place. Now I'm going to just bring you a little bit closer, okay, to one of the signboards over here. Now this is very interesting. Okay, do you see that? Okay, Chinatown, Singapore. Now if you go to anywhere in the world, whether you go to Italy, you go to England, okay, or you go to USA, you go to Canada, you go to Australia, any part of the world where they call Chinatown, they are calling this place as Tang Ren Jie. Okay, now if you can actually take a look at what I have for you as I walk along, this word is not Tang Ren Jie. Okay, the Chinese word over here, if you can read Chinese, it calls it as 牛车水. 牛车水, can you see that? No, so what is 牛车水? What is 牛车水? Okay, 牛车水 and 唐人街 sounds very different, right? 唐人街 in Cantonese, it just means that it is a place for the Chinese. But 牛车水, as the saying goes, in Singapore, we used to have a lot of bullock carts, okay, ferried by buffaloes, okay, and okay, ferrying water across the street. So this is where you get the name New Shui. I'm going to teach you if you want to come to Singapore. Tell them you want to go to Chinatown in Chinese now New Shui, or you can tell them in Cantonese because this place is very much occupied by the Cantonese. Now Shui. Okay, say one more time. Now Shui. Now, if you have any question, you want to put out your hands and ask me, feel free to do so, all right? So I'll continue to bring you to other places of interest. Now, the place that we are at, we are at this place called the Pagoda Street. Now, there's many streets over in this Chinatown, 2,700 buildings conserved, okay, by the Urban Redevelopment Authority, URA. Okay, we have Pagoda Street, Terengganu Street, we have the Temple Street, Moss Street, and many, many streets, Sago Lane as well. Okay, so you can see I'm here at this Chinatown, okay, Heritage Center, like what Brandon actually mentioned. In India, there's Little India, there's Indian Heritage Center. In Kampong Glam, which my colleague will be covering later on, there's a Malay Heritage Center. So these three areas, okay, Chinatown, Kampong Glam, and Little India are part of where the heritage is being kept. And that is very important because Singapore is a multiracial society and we need to keep the traditions going. All right. So three main races that came to Singapore, okay, immigrants from China, immigrants from India, and immigrants from Europe. Okay, we have a European street as well. So basically, this as for Malays, they are the Aborigines over here. So you can see, I'm at this 牛车水源贸馆, okay, which is what we call it Chinatown Heritage Center. Your first step to discovering Chinatown. Now, it used to be open for people, okay, visitors coming from all over the world because they have guided tours over here as well. As you can see, visit us. Right now, it's actually closed. It used to be $10 for children and $14 for a visitor. So what will they bring you over here? They will show you this whole thing called the shop house. Now, from here to here is one shop house. Okay, as you can see, this is how the one shop house looks like. Now, if I go a little bit out of this, you can see it consists of the first floor, second floor, third floor, and then the roof. Okay, if I actually come over here, okay, on the opposite side, okay, first floor, second floor, third floor, and fourth floor, right? And then the roof. And over the other side, okay, where you can see at the building over there, okay, is first floor, second floor only, and then there's a roof attic. Okay, there's a roof attic. Now, why are all these shop houses only 2 or 3 levels? How do they design it? As you can see, for all these shop houses, the ground floor is all okay made up of shops. And talking about shops, these shop houses were built way back in the late 1700s and the 1800s. And I happen to have a shop over here just to show you if you can see inside. Okay, if you can see inside, yeah, this is the exact facade of how the shop looks like. Okay, inside since the 1800s. I cannot go into the shop itself. Okay, but this used to be a very nice tailor shop, and everything is conserved. Okay, since the 1800s. Now later you might meet one of our guide over here who is also a tailor. He may tell you more about clothes and stuff like that. But I'm just going to show you first floor doing business. Second floor, what is it? It's called a living quarter. Now, as you can see, it's not six windows. It's three windows as a unit, and then another three windows as a unit. Okay, what happens is that it's about 600 square feet. Okay, and people come over here from Quanzhou, from Hainan, from the coastal region in China, early China, and came over as early settlers. Now, before that, there are also businessmen who made it and bought houses like this. So they became landlords. So if you want to talk about richer Chinese, they are also the worst Chinese possible. Talking about making money, the Chinese are very good. Why is it so? If you just look at this, all these houses, okay, can it's a very small space, only 600 square feet. But what they do is they will partition this, little space, okay, by up to 7 quarters. That's why it's called living quarter. And each quarter will house a family of 2 to 3 to even 4. So imagine I have 7 quarters and 4 living in a quarter, a family or 7 families. That's 28 people living in a 600 square feet area. Ooh, wow! Everybody can just take a small space, and it's really on street. Okay, 7 families to one toilet. 7 families to one toilet, and they also share only a one cooking area. So living conditions was very very bad back then. And of course, if you look up to the third, I'm just going to show you over here. If you look up to the third floor, aha, that's where the landlord lives. Okay, that's usually where the landlord lives. Okay, and they will come down and collect the rent, and then come down and do business. Okay, so as we move on, I just want to show you. Okay, right now there's a lot of shops selling a lot of local items. If you like Singapore, I love SG. If you like to dress very orientally, you can always buy some clothes over here. Now, one thing I want to show you over at this pagoda house, okay, as you can see, there is this, what is it? The roof attic where you can go up and do gardening or something. No, not that. Okay, this whole place, okay, as for Chinatown, I'll tell you what it comprises of. Most of them settling over at this Terengganu Street overlooking here and Pagoda Street. Okay, they are actually Cantonese from the region of Canton. Okay, so when you actually have those roof attic, what do? They usually will go upstairs and hang their clothes to dry because Singapore is a very tropical area. The sun is very humid, so clothes will dry up very very fast. But on top of that, Canton is the paradise. Okay, where there's a kung fu capital called Foshan or Fasan, where Wong Fei Hong, Ip Man, okay, or even Bruce Lee learns the Wing Chun uh, martial art. So they will actually go upstairs to practice their martial art. You know, like I want to beat 10 people, I want to beat 100 people. 我一個打10個，一個打100個。Yeah. All right. So enough of these buildings. Let's carry on. Okay, you can use it to practice kung fu. You can also use it to hang your clothes. So as we carry on now, besides all these shops, they have already got into extension these days. Okay, okay, to have additional shop on top of shops. So you see how creative Singapore, or no, rather Chinese, okay, are in terms of making money. So as we go along this Terengganu Street, we are coming into this place called the Temple Street. As you can see, everything is in Cantonese. Yam cha, yam cha. Okay, so over there, as you can see, Temple Street. This is a place where there's a lot of temples over here. There's the biggest temple right in front, which is Sri Mariamman Temple. Yeah, how come we have an Indian temple? Yeah, it's a temple. We have even more in front. Okay, we have Chinese temples over here. So this is the intersection, and you can see there is a Chinatown or People's Park complex. Okay, built in the 1970s. This is an epical or the pinnacle of high and good quality of housing back then. And a lot of Hong Kong stars like Nicholas T's father and Deborah, okay, lived over here and bought a unit. Okay, I shall make my move and continue. Okay, so as you can see over here, as you can see over here, continuing with all the um, different stuff. Now, culture include all the religion and stuff like that. So you can buy a lot of Oriental stuff over here. All right. And as we are moving on, I just want to show you on all these shop houses. It was first created, okay, with a Tang Dynasty design, okay, and very important one part about the shop houses over here, okay. In the plan, I'll just switch it over so that you can see me, okay. In the Stanford Raffles plan now, the Stanford Raffles is the first person or the person who founded modern Singapore in 1819. So when he founded Singapore, he created a town plan called the Jackson Master Plan in 1822, which will put the Indians in Little India, which will put the Chinese in Chinatown, will put the Malays generally in this place called Kampong Glam, which you will learn about it later from Drake. Okay, and in this Chinatown houses, okay, you can see from here. I'm just going to show you. Okay, there is this corridor that is quite uniform throughout. Can you see that? Okay, I'm just going to show you over here. There's this. Okay, coming into the inner side of the corridor, you will see that it is quite uniform. So what happens is that Stanford Raffles decided the corridor from the pillar right up to the shop front is going to be 1.52 meters, and it's called 5 foot way because, okay, you just had to have 5 foot. I'm just going to show you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 foot, and you will be able to hit on to the other pillar. That's why this place is also called the 5 foot way. There's a song for it. It's called 五角溪。一条路上，穿越多少户家庭，一双母鸡，敲醒多少的美梦。Okay, coming into this place called the Smith Street. Okay, this is named after Sir Cecil Clementi Smith for his contribution to early Singapore. Now, this is Smith Street. Okay, this is the only part that is occupied by a little bit of Hokkien from the Fujian province. Okay, as you can see, this is slightly different. This has become the food street of Chinatown. So the early settlers, they do not know how to, how to speak in English. So when the British ask them, where is this Smith Street? They say, see me. And here we have this Smith Street. That's one I'll say. So over here you can enjoy tropical fruits like durian. Yeah, this fruit you either love it or you hate it. Okay, so coming down to this place, this is very much known for Smith Street as the place for wayang or the place, okay, for food. Okay, this Chinatown food street has been renovated in 2014 in Singapore. Okay, and I will bring you over there to take a look at what food we have. In fact, we are very lucky in Singapore that we can actually enjoy food and dine in like this gentleman over there. Yeah, but right now in Singapore we can only have up to 2 people having food. So I'm just going to show you. Now again, we are going to see shop houses, but this is slightly different. Okay, it's actually covered. Now this place is called the Wayang Street, or we call this also the so-called theater street. Okay, there's a lot of shows going on. Okay, the Cantonese call this Hei Yun Gai. Okay, so you can actually see we have this thing called the Katong fried oyster. Okay, so if you like to eat oysters and have it fried, 大哥我也帮你就是促销一下，跟国外的朋友。Okay, so coming at Singapore, $5, $8, $10, you can enjoy a nice food fare. Okay, this place, as you can see, the food stalls are not very much open right now. Okay, why? Okay, this used to be the so-called, forget about everybody talking about red light district. This used to be the top class, high class red light district, okay, in Singapore. In for the Chinese, okay. Why? Because we will have a lot of restaurants over here. All these shops down here, you will see there's actually about 20, more than 25 brothers operating from here, and there's a lot of crime, and a lot of all these shop houses are used to be opium houses. Opium houses. Yep. So again, back to food. Just to let you know, if you want to enjoy nice food over here, these are the prices that you can consider. Okay. So right now, they are in the transition of getting from the delivery mode into the food mode. So this used to be like what I call it the the so-called red light district over here. So food will not be served that early because they won't wake up that early anyway. I want to show you this particular place. It's called the Lai Chun Yun. Lai Chun Yun, okay, or Li Chun Yuan. This is the epitome of Cantonese opera. Okay, the biggest opera house in the whole of Singapore. Okay, for the Chinese back then. Usually for Cantonese opera, same thing. Bottom is the shop. Second, okay, this is like a theater. You can seat about 834 people. Design, okay, is back in the 1800 by the same architect which designed Raffles Hotel in Singapore. Okay, so there are many rooms available definitely down here. So I can't open the door to show you. It has since been converted into a hotel. Why is it called Hotel 1887? Just to let you know, this Lai Chun Yun, okay, Lai Chun Yun over here was built in 1887. So the buyers decided to keep the tradition going. To keep the tradition going. Let me see if I can actually have a quick sneak peek review. Yeah, we can't. But you can see there's an opera house inside. Now it's of course not functioning anymore. Okay. But this was the place where the courtesans will come over. The courtesans will come over and perform with the so-called Chinese bosses. And if they like them, they will bring them out for the night. And that's why a lot of them will open up the street over here, okay, to serve food so that the courtesans or the brothels will be able to fill their stomachs before they serve their customers. Okay, now let's carry on. Okay, I haven't got much time. Okay, let's carry on to the next place, which I'm going to show you. As you can see, this is really beautiful. Chinatown is what people call Tua Po, or the big town under the Jackson Plan in 1822, sorry. So under this big town concept, okay, Chinatown is really split into four places. Bukit Pasoh, okay, Telok Ayer, Tanjong Pagar, which is where you see the high skyscraper. And finally, we have this place called Krita Ayer area. Okay, that is the last place. Hello, 大家你好. That is the last place where Chinatown is, right up to Maxwell Road, and we will come to the end of Chinatown area. So as I'm moving on, again, take a look, just to show you everybody. Aha. Can move this over. Okay, so you can see now this is a place where a lot of elderly folks will actually gather. A lot of elderly folks will gather. Okay, whether you come together for a game of chess， 大家好，那个海外的人一起连线啊，or you want to actually do some shopping, as you can see, because they used to live around here and has been the past 50 years of gathering, isn't it? So as I move on, I'm just going to show you. This is where I say Krita Ayer. Okay, there's a square over here where the elderly folks will come here to watch performances. They will also, perform or do dancing along this complex, like a Guangchang in China. Yeah, this Chinatown complex over here, as you can see over here. Okay, again, at the ground floor is all shops and selling items from accessories right up to clothes to tailors, and on top of it is the what is it hawker center. Now I'm gonna just I know I'm a little bit overrun. I'm going to show you over here. This is the Buddha Tooth Relic Temple. Do come over here. It was built in 2017, 2007. Sorry. Okay, costs about $75 million to build. Okay, and built by Shifa Zhao, the Buddhist monk who actually saw this. So you can see, it's a very very big place. I'm just going to show you inside. There are 4 levels. First level, second level is for people to pray. Third level is for people to see the museum of Buddhism. Okay, people do joysticks and so on and so forth. Okay, and finally, okay, at the fourth level, this place houses the Buddha tooth. Buddha tooth. Okay, we governed by a stupa which weighs 3,500 kilograms and having 600 over kilogram of solid gold. That's why this is very valuable. Okay, I love to cover more. I welcome everybody to come down to Singapore to take a look, to explore Chinatown. Okay, due to time limits, I cannot cover more, but this is really, really a gem in Singapore for you to find out. I welcome you to come to Singapore after COVID restrictions are lifted. Okay, I believe my other guest, other guide is really waiting. I'm so sorry, Drake. Yep, I shall
No
hand
worries.
you over to Drake.
Yeah.
He will give you even more juicy information about his Singapore and his place in Kampong Glam. Thank you, thank you.
Yeah. Hey, thank you, Xiaomeng. Thanks for the information, all that you have shared with all of the rest of our viewers right here
Just
in,
to
the,
let you
in
know,
this Zoom call. I am yes. My name is Drake. Yeah, and yes, I'm a tailor as you mentioned as well. That's my day job. But I'm also a performing artist. So right here, right now, we're actually having a heritage trail introduction to all of you with the Kampong Glam Heritage Trail. Why do I start from this place? Because there's actually historical significance for the Malay community in Singapore. Because 200 years ago, right, this whole Kampong Glam area, right, the Temenggung Abdul Rahman, the advisor of the Sultan Hussein, they actually signed a treaty with the British East India Company with Sir Stamford Raffles to set up a place in this area for the. Sorry, there was a bit of interruption here. Oops. Hello. Yep. Okay. Yep. So where was I? Okay. Yes. The Sultan signed a treaty with Sir Stamford Raffles from the British East India Company to set up a place in Kampong Glam for the Malays who originally stay in this land to stay together and also to set up a place for him to live in. And right next to his residence, we also have the Masjid Sultan, the mosque, which I'll show you later. But right now, I'm going to show you this compound. Hello, am I muted? All right, I'm so sorry. Okay, so sorry for the technical difficulties here. All right, so right here, right now, okay, I'll just go back a bit backwards to the residence of our Sultan. Yeah, 200 years ago, this place, this particular compound is actually the residence of the Sultan. So they have signed a treaty with the East India British Company, British East India Company, with Sir Stanton Raffles to set up this area for him to live. And also I mentioned the Masjid Sultan mosque, right? Yeah. So this is the mosque that is that is actually allocated with funds allocated to the Sultan to build for the Malay community, because we all know that during festive seasons, or maybe like when they need to have a place to concentrate together, to gather together for prayers, the mosque is the ideal place for them. It's a holy place for worship. So this is a essential need for the Malay communities, which I'll bring you closer in a short while. So this whole compound is actually the residence of the Sultan. So if you want to come and take a look, you can come to the Malay Heritage Center, built in the residence itself. This is the actual heritage conservative area as well. So civilians free entry. All right, civilians have free entry. Civilians have free entry, but for those who are foreigners, adults, you just need to pay a ticket for per adult, $8, and for students, senior citizens, and also people with disabilities, you can actually just pay $5 per ticket. For foreigners, Singaporeans, citizens, free for all. Just bring your IC along. All right. So I'm going to move down the street further. Just now, Xiao Meng, the tour guide before me, who actually mentioned something about our shop houses. But these were all the buildings that were preserved from 200 years ago until now. Of course, there are certain renovations to make sure that the structure of the building is safe for people to operate and live in. So these are actually shop houses that people actually operated their business in right now. They used to be living quarters too. Okay, so as we mentioned, sometimes it can range from 2 to 4 stories. 4 stories tall is actually, that's the limit of the height of the building to be built at that time. Yeah, or else there will be a lot of safety concerns at that time because technology wasn't that advanced yet at the moment. So that's where a lot of people, because of limited space, there are many families living in the same compound, or rather the same shop house on the second floor. Because usually the shop front is at the first floor, where they do their business, where they trade with one another, within the community as well. Now, along the Kampong Glam area, all right, this place, there are many different streets, such as Muscat Street, which is where we are along this road. Then we have the Aliwa Street. Okay, then we have Busora Street, previously known as the Sultan Road. Later, I will explain to you the significance of it, as well as their main Haji Lane and Arab Street. That's where later we'll be heading towards for the more hipster side of Kampong Glam. So now we are heading down the road to the Masjid, Sultan Masjid Mosque. As you can see, yellow and green is actually, or yellow, or rather specifically gold and green, are the significant color for the Islam Islamic community, the Malays. Right here, this is how majestic it looks, because this is actually the Sultan's mosque, built specifically for their people. Look at the magnificent design of the building. So the mosque actually, for what I understood, okay, the mosque is actually built in a way that, right, their main prayer rooms where they do their prayers, they actually face a certain direction towards the Mecca, right? It's Mecca, right? Which one is the direction that usually it faces? Is it the west? In Singapore, it's usually to the west, right? Yeah, because it's based on they had to build the location, the prayer room, based on the direction of the Mecca. So in particular in Singapore, it's actually to the west of our country. So normally the prayer room will actually face towards the direction of the west, using the compass. So this is the Sultan Masjid Mosque, and along this stretch, actually, this used to be the Sultan Road. Okay, the Sultan Road actually now is being named as the Busora Street. All right. Actually, the Busora Street is just further down, but this whole stretch is considered the Sultan Road because this is where the Sultan lives, and this is where it's the center of the Kampong Glam area. Yeah, because a lot of people will come here for festive seasons, or the what we call the Ramadan, for example. That's one of the main festivals where Malays or rather the different ethnic group within Singapura, at that time we were called Singapura, where we concentrate here to celebrate the festivities. Yeah, and actually, if you look at the mosque, right, along the same side of the mosque, that's where most of the Malay community lives. While on this side of these shophouses, these are actually split into different ethnic groups. People who come from Java, people who come from Arabia, and also Indonesia, and so on and so forth. Even the Chinese as well. Yeah, this where all the traders and settlers actually all settled here 200 years ago after the treaty was signed. Okay, the importance of the treaty I forgot to mention just now is that this treaty is signed as a means to set up Singapore as a trading post because Singapore has a very good geographical location for trade and commerce. And that's why we have so many diverse different types of ethnic group living in Singapore till today. It's because of the fact that we have many of these traders settling down in Singapore. As you can see, we have very diverse different types of shops. We have these kind of different types of batik, printed clothes for the ladies and for the men. We even have like perfumes and essential oils here. As you can see, we even have Japanese writings because we have a lot of Japanese tourists here who actually go for these kind of perfumes for them because it's quite a novelty for them. The smells come from Arabia and even Turkish as well. Yep, different restaurants of different cuisines. And you see, if you can see, all these shophouses, although some of them have been painted with very different types of colors, but you can still see some of their design that we still retain. And the material that they still use for their windows, yeah, and for the design that was that signifies the colonial past of Singapore. And you can see here many different types. The cube. This is actually seems like this is one of the tourism attraction book center, the Singapore Visitor Center in Kampong Glam. I don't know if you can see it clearly. Yeah, this is one of the center where you can get one of the maps to walk around in Kampong Glam. And then we have the European artisan bread. You can see many different cultures all come together in Kampong Glam and set up their business here. Oh, we have a Turkish restaurant here too. As you can see, that's one of the iconic ethnic group people dressed in their traditional Turkish wear. And this here along, this is actually part of the Sultan Road. We're heading down towards the heart of Kampong Glam, the Bussorah street. Now, Bussorah is actually the name of a place in Iraq. So we really can find this place in Iraq as well when you search for Bussorah, Bussorah. Yeah, it's very interesting. There's a lot of significance when it comes to naming this street. But this is not the time where I can share because I have limited time to work with for you. Oh, today we have painters painting the streets. Hello. I'd like to check in with one of the artists. Hi. Are you painting one of the shophouses here? Wow. Beautiful watercolor. And speaking of art, actually, IOI Street, just down the road, right down this road, there's IOI Street. That's actually one of our Singapore's artistic hub in Singapore. Okay, so that is where a lot of performers, where we perform. I am a performer myself, so I usually we rehearse in IOI Street, the IOI Art Center. And usually when we are all tired, we'll come here to the Kampong Glam Cafe. That has been around for decades. They have recently just refurbished their buildings as well. So this is where we actually sit down and chill. And they sell mostly the Muslim Malay food, Malay and Indian foods. Yeah. Before I let the car cross, before I cross over, to show you some of the kueh-kuehs, or rather the pastries that the Malay community actually cook during Ramadan, and they share with each other within this community as well. All right, I'm going to cross the road. Yep, as you can see, this is our usual comfort food after our rehearsals, after our performances in Kampong Glam Cafe. Yeah. So if you're interested to know more about IOI Street, you can come around this area and head down to IOI Street, okay? And you'll get to see more of our cultures. Here, these are some of the kueh-kuehs that they cook for during the Ramadan season, the period. Yeah, they share all these different types of pastries. Yeah, talk about cultural diversity. Even when Chinese also celebrate this together with the Muslims as well. Besides having our own different festivals like the Chinese New Year. Yeah. So more shop houses. And you realize that, right? Because of the fact that we are protecting our heritage, history. So you can see how well our new buildings blend in together with our old shop houses. Looks very iconic and scenic, right? That's why we have painters painting these particular buildings, because it's really, you can see the overlapping of the old buildings with the new buildings. All right, so let's move on down the road along Bussorah Street, because we are heading now down towards Haji Lane and also Arab Street, the slightly more hipster place. As you can see, we're starting to blend in more of our modern cultures here. Just like I mentioned, at the Aliwa Art Center, we have our performance artists as well as our graffiti artists. All right, so they actually come into play around here. Okay, there's not so much of the graffiti here, but what right now I'm bringing you to Arab Street first. Yeah, to show you this is where the commerce actually is all located. That means all of our merchants, shop houses, where they actually trade fabric, textile. Okay, the reason why this is Arab Street is because, right, predominantly the Arabians actually were the ones who were first settled in Singapore. And what they bring with them is actually all the different types of textile fabric as well, such as carpets. You can see all the different influences, the Middle Eastern influences here, Islamic prints. Yeah, and this is just one of the shops I'm just showing you. Yeah. So most of them actually bring over textiles. Besides the Chinese also brought a lot of textile, but theirs is more of the soft cotton and the silk. But here they also have Egyptian cotton and so on and so forth. Because I'm a tailor myself, so I also have different suppliers along this stretch of the road. And one of the suppliers is usually this shop, Mahako Silk Shop. Yeah, later I'll be picking up my order from them as well. Yeah, so this is their shop. Actually, you know what? I will pick up the shop, pick up my item. Hello, I'm Drake. Yes. I'm because I'm doing a heritage show and then introducing one of the shop because of my supplier ma. Yeah, so is the order ready or should I later? Okay. Yeah, maybe I'll come back after I introduce the whole place. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So this is where my supplier. You look at all the different types of fabric. Very colorful. They actually sell to also tourists as well. So if you want a specific cut length, which I recommend, like for your top, you cut about 1.1 and 1.9 yards, and also 1.1 yard for the bottom. So this is a tip and trick for you to follow. Yeah. Okay. I sidetracked a little bit. So yeah, as you can see, the different shops you can actually buy accessories and clothes for the ladies, for the men as well, scarf, many different types. And besides all this, we also have different types of hipsters restaurants down the road here, as you can see. And along this stretch of the, I think if I'm not wrong, there is a shop called the VK Abdul Saman and Company. That's actually an old bookshop that has been established in Singapore since the start of Kampong Glam. It's a small little nugget you can find along this stretch of the road. I won't tell you where because it's quite a far walk down. That's the thing for you. Do go and check it out. They have a diverse amount of the number of books that they have inside their store. Now we are heading to the more hipster part of Arab Street and Haji Lane. Okay, Arab Street and Haji Lane used to be called the Kampong. The Indonesia is called Kampong something. I can't remember already. Yeah, so it used to be just one kampong by itself. Then because there are so many diverse different types of groups of people coming in, yeah, so we can see them split into different types of different names of the lane. And here you see the graffiti artworks commissioned for the artist groups in Aliwa Art Center to paint all these buildings for this part, because this is where the hipster cafes, all the restaurants are here where they are doing their business. So you can see some of the paintings, they look really beautiful and quite realistic actually. Yep, you see, even to the second floor. I shall let the artwork speak for itself. Very beautiful artwork. And these are commissioned by the artist, a commission for the artist to work on in the IOI Art Center. Yeah, so they actually painted quite a lot, as you can see. Further down, there is actually Haji Lane. Okay, Haji Lane currently is closed for renovation and refurbishment. So, but this is still part of Haji Lane, as I show you. The different types of drinking places, clothes shop, restaurants, and so on and so forth. But before that, I'm going to just turn the other way and show you more of the artworks, graffiti artwork. If you heard of the Blue Jazz Cafe, yeah, the Blue Jazz Cafe is just down this spot. I think they just recently just opened after they released their contracts. Yeah, look at all this graffiti. It takes a long time to finish all this. Yep. All right. Okay. I'm also about to run out of time already, so I'm just going to show you a brief look of how our cityscape blends in together with our old shop houses. Just look at the background from here just now. And today we have quite a few tourists coming here. Yeah, so we have bakery. So you have pizza of different cuisine. Yes, and this is the back side of my vendor. And so forth, Medi Pizza, all this. The eclectic mix of all the different hipsters restaurants. Not just this is no longer just about like we're selling textiles or the traditional way of doing business, but we also have all this kind of new generation of shop houses and businesses. All right. So, all right. I guess I'm running out of time. So I am just going to do a little bit of outro right here. All right. So this is actually Haji Lane. Yeah, where we still have it's part of the Kampong Glam and it's kept as a heritage area where we for the Malay communities. Yeah, and part of our identity. And speaking of identity, I'd like to also pass this session over to my colleague over at Botanic Gardens, Mike. Yeah, he will tell you more about you to listen to him. All right, so Mike, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, loud and clear. Good.
Loud and clear. Off to you.
From Kampong Glam, now we come to Cluny Road Botanic Gardens. To get here, you can take the downtown line, the blue line. It will bring you to the Botanic Gardens MRT station. The same with the circle line, the yellow line, it will bring you over here. Then from here, you walk about 1.5 kilometers within Botanic Gardens to reach the National Orchid Gardens. Okay, but first, let me show you how beautiful this place is by doing a 360 turnaround. Right, okay. As you can see, there are a lot of vibrant colors around. You get more of them later. This is just to show you how big this place is. It's 82 hectares, which is a big deal for a tiny country like Singapore, where we only have 723 square kilometers for the entire country. So, yeah, the Botanic Gardens is started in 1822 by the British at that time when we were a British colony. Okay, now I'm going to inverse the camera so that you get to see more flowers while I talk. We were actually at Fort Canning Hill at that time where the Botanic Gardens was started. Fort Canning Hill was also called the Government Hill because the government house is there. The governors actually rule the country from there, and because he can see the city and the port and all that. And that was 1822, and a lot of experiments were done with agriculture seeds to see whether they can grow in this part of the world. And indeed, it has some very successful crops that are experimented and then grown very successfully in Singapore, like pepper, gambia, and so on, and including orchids. They started cultivating orchids in 1822, right? They actually moved from Fort Canning Hill to the present premises, Cluny Road, only in 1858. 1858, and at the moment, the Botanic Gardens is 82 hectares. It's huge for a tiny island and very well kept, I must say. I've lived in 19 countries across 4 continents. And believe me, I've seen many botanic gardens. This is one of the best. Yeah. In 1928, yeah, they started experimenting with rubber seeds. Actually, rubber saplings, sorry. Apparently, the rubber seeds were smuggled from Brazil to the Kew Gardens, and then the saplings are in turn shipped to Singapore and experimented here, and it was successful. As you can see later on, there were many rubber plantations that resulted from the experiment in Malaysia, Singapore, and Indonesia. And of course, there are no more rubber plantations in Singapore because land is of premium. And in Malaysia and Indonesia, palm oil has replaced some of those plantations as a more lucrative crop at the moment. But back in 1928, rubber was a hot commodity because of the commercialization of the motor car. And the first rubber exchange was actually here because it's closer to the source of the rubber. Okay, so that's that for Botanic Gardens. Now within Botanic Gardens, we have this beautiful National Orchid Garden. Our national flower is actually an orchid called Miss Vander Miss Joachim. I say again, Vander Miss Joachim. That was created by a lady, a Singaporean Armenian called Miss Agnes Joachim back in 1893. And in 1981, after consultations with several nature groups and interest groups, the Vanda Miss Joachim is declared the national flower of Singapore by Mr. S. Dhanabalan, our Minister of Culture. Okay, so as you can see, it's very sunny here, extremely sunny. You can tell it's blue sky, sunny, nice to look at online. And if you are from a cold country, you can fantasize about this hot weather. But where I am now, I'm under the sweltering heat, trying to breathe through my mask and so on. Okay, next we are walking into the VIP orchids. Basically, orchids that are named after VIPs around the world. So what they do is that they hybrid the orchids and name it after a famous person around the world. And you shall find out who they are in a minute. Okay. Okay. This one hasn't bloomed yet. Or some haven't bloomed yet. Okay, Moon Jae-in and Kim Jong-suk. Okay, they were the former president of South Korea, but hasn't bloomed yet. And black. This hybrid is the first VIP orchid that's named 1956. Okay, the governor of Singapore. So this is how the flower looks like. And here we have a beautiful, vibrant color flower that is named after Aung San Suu Kyi. Okay, she is in quite a bit of a trouble now with the military. I hope she gets herself sorted out with the military. Terrible problems in Burma or Myanmar. And we have Sebastian Kurz, one of the Federal Chancellor of the Republic of Austria. Her flowers. Cute, isn't it? This flower is so curly. And here is the famous, our neighbor, Miss Siti Mahathir, the wife of Dr. Mahathir, the former Prime Minister of Malaysia. So it looks like another curly one. By the way, there are about 1,000 species of orchids here in the National Orchid Garden and 2,000 species of hybrids here. Okay. And by the way, make a guess how many species of orchids are there in the world you can find. Okay, I'll come back to the answer. How many species of orchid, known species in the world? Okay, this one is named after Margaret Thatcher. Yeah, another curly, cute one. Yeah, I wonder how they determine who to name it after. Has the flower look something to do with the personality? Curly and cute and purple? Perhaps. Okay, Margaret Thatcher. Okay, the answer to the question, how many species are there? There are about 28,000 species of orchid known in the world. That is about 2 times that's about the same number of species as bony fish species. Okay, and twice the number of species of birds. Birds only has 14,000 species. And about 4 times the number of land mammals. Okay, so there's so many orchids around. See, there are a lot of curly ones, rather cute actually. Look like sharpener shavings, pencil sharpener shavings, isn't it? Okay, this is Narendra Modi, Prime Minister of India. Okay, the next question is, do you think orchids are tropical flowers? True or false? Are orchids tropical flowers? We'll come back to the answer later, okay? At the moment, let's enjoy the kind of orchids. This one will look slightly different. Sheikh Moza bin Nasir Al Misnet, the Amir of the state of Qatar. Okay, you might notice that orchids stay open for a long time, okay? They stay open for a long time, and the reason is because it has a specialized pollination system. So if you look at the orchid up close, at the center of it, there's a column, right? Can you see it? A column. That's where the male and female pollens are kept. So as you can see, it's quite inside, and that calls for specialized pollinators willing to go that deep in and get the pollens and all that. In contrast, you compare them with hibiscus, where they have promiscuously protruding stigma and pollen sticking next to it, which is very accessible. So because orchids are not accessible for pollination, not so accessible for pollination, they stay open for a longer time. It's like human beings, right? Some are accessible, some are not so accessible. So eventually all would want to get pollinated. So to perpetuate the species. Okay, there are exceptions to orchids that pollinates easily, and for those kind of orchids, they actually don't stay full bloom for very long. A few days and they're gone because they get pollinated. Their job is done. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it, nature? So what exactly is an orchid? Right, an orchid stays full bloom very long. They there are three types of orchids categories, I would say. They are grown on branches, which is called epiphytes, and some grow on rocks. I can't show examples here because this is a well-cultivated garden, not occurring in natural form. So some are on branches, some are on rocks called lithophytes, and there are 25% minority that grows from the ground. Those are called terrestrial orchids. So for terrestrial orchids, they are different from the other two categories in that they grow from rhizomes, right, which is a bulb, and they get their food there, and then the other nutrients from the ground, directly from the ground. Whereas other orchids that grows from branches, and on rocks, they would have to use their air roots to breathe in the moisture and the air and get nutrients from there, and also from dead leaves that falls on it. So they get the nutrients from those things. So they are not parasites, okay? They're not parasites. They don't suck out goodness from the branches or the stones. So I don't know whether the stone has any goodness to suck out from, but you get the drift, right? So beautiful, isn't it? Can't stop looking at it. Look, so dainty, so vibrant. This one is named after Princess Diana. Very white. Lovely. Yeah. So when the orchids get pollinated, the seeds will explode out, right? So there are seeds. Now, orchid seeds can be extremely small. Not can be, most of them are extremely small. It goes from 0.06 millimeters to 6 millimeters. And because they are so small, they don't carry enough food to help germinate. Okay, so from seed to the first green shoot, they have to rely on the appropriate fungus to break into the seed and provide the nutrients so that it can start germinating and have the first green shoot. After the first green shoot, they will start to have roots and so on, where then they would breathe in, the goodness from the air and the mist and all that, and then keep themselves alive. Okay. There are exceptions again. There are some orchids that are bigger seeds. They actually germinate and they grow from the ground. Okay, and that they take the nutrients directly from the ground. Okay, next we are going to walk to the greenhouses. So we have 3 greenhouses, and the first 2 they are greenhouses for orchids that are 650 meters to 1,000 meters tall, so high. I mean elevation heights. Okay, they are orchids that grow in relatively cooler weathers. When it comes to my original question just now, are orchids considered tropical flowers? Okay, and because I've just given a hint, right? Some of them grow in temperate temperatures, I mean cooler temperatures, which means that the answer is no. Orchids are not tropical flowers. They actually grow in all continents around the world except Antarctica. I was told that you find orchids even 4 degrees above the Arctic Circle, right? 4 degrees above Arctic Circle, you still can find orchids, which means they are everywhere. They are not a tropical plant. Okay. So what are you doing for time now? Let me check. Oh, your time is almost up now. So I'll go through quickly that this maze of the place. Okay, this greenhouses where they simulate the conditions, the cooler conditions of the higher elevations, such that the orchids can grow. And in this garden, we also spray out fine mist to simulate the forest condition, where, remember, the air roots of the orchids can absorb the nutrients and grow. Okay, this is, you can see, one of the greenhouses, plants, beautiful flowers. Okay, then the next one, the Samcock Cool House, they are even cooler. They are creating an environment which is similar to elevations of 1,000 meters and above. That means the temperature you're looking at maybe 18, 16 degrees to 22 degrees kind of temperatures. But unfortunately, we cannot go in that place without me losing reception. Yeah, if I enter the place, I'll lose you basically, and I cannot explain to you what goes on inside. However, we come prepared. A few days ago, we actually prepared a video offline. I got it edited, and now it is available online via a link. So admin of this Zoom, can you put out the link so that they are able to, the audience is able to look at the inside of this place, which if I enter, I will lose you. So that's all for now. I'm Michael Chua. Thank you for coming this far with me. Let me catch up with my breath. Hope you enjoy, and if you can, come to visit this place. It's really lovely. Look, I mean, it's such a lovely place. Come and visit this place and participate in the NUS online activities. Yeah, and I'll see you sometime, maybe in another tour. And if you want, you can come here. It's rather good. Highly recommended. Bye.